right, folks, welcome to Suite 301. It's February edition, late February, because we're twice a month now.
Yes.
I'm Sandy Sanderson. To my east, your west, Christian Smith, coming to you live from Pittsburgh, PA, and we're going to give you all the recaps and insights of everything going on in Colt Club sports. So make sure you watch all our broadcasts on Suite 301, our Suite 301 page, Facebook pages, and YouTube.
Yeah, just to reiterate, make sure to like our Facebook pages, follow our Twitter accounts for the latest news and media, and also subscribe to our YouTube channel for videos from around the leagues and to watch previous episodes of Suite 301.
All right. Well, without further ado, it's baseball season. Pitchers and catchers reported already.
Yep.
Let's get Garrett Seamek on set and talk a little baseball.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Good.
Garrett, what's up, my man?
Glad to be on.
Glad to have you. So let's jump into it. First things first, we got spring training right around the corner. As Sandy mentioned, pitchers and catchers already reported. Spring training in the major leagues is in full swing, but the NCBA spring training is about to kick off here in a few days.
Yeah, Sunday's our first day of games. We're looking forward to it. Myself and Alec head down on Thursday, so we're getting all amped up. We're ready to go. We're excited about it.
You're upset about leaving this weather, huh?
Oh, yeah. Rainy weather in Pittsburgh. I already looked up. It's going to be 80 next week.
Oh,
I'm excited for it.
Damn. Well, that's good to hear. So we got games starting this Sunday.
Yeah, so we got Robert Morris versus Northeastern. They kick things off with a doubleheader on Sunday. We're excited for it. We're looking forward to it. For everybody that's wondering, all schedules are out. The only ones that we're waiting on are out west, which we're hoping teams have the schedules. There might be a minor tweak that we'll have coming the next day or two. We'll let the teams know about that to keep them updated. But other than that, we're ready to play baseball. We'll be sending out coaches packets tomorrow, and everyone's really excited about it.
And we'll have all the like you said, at least for the East, the schedules are updated online.
Yep.
So you can see week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4 schedules. And we'll also have those scores posted as they are the games are completed. So make sure to follow along the spring training website located on the NCBA website
And then
for all those updates.
I want to highlight 4 matchups because I was just doing my research of looking through the games and all that. We've got 4 kind of high-quality matchups I thought of. Ohio State D1 and D2 are both taking on Florida D1 and D2. So that'll be great to see those 2 heavyweights that are postseason every year, see them face off. Newcomer Boston University, who we just signed last month, they're taking on Penn State D2. Perennial playoff team. It'll be great to see how a new team does against essentially one of the top teams in D2. UCF versus Iowa. Iowa defending number 1 seed in D1, getting to face off against UCF, who's been extremely good the past few years. And then the last one, which I'm excited about, is SUNY Cortland versus UW-Madison D2. That's the number 4 versus number 5 team in D2 right now, getting to face off. And it's not very often you get to see that high of 2 teams playing each other.
Well, that's good. Yeah, so it's not just fun and games down there. Some serious matchups. A lot of teams being able to look up how they stack up, heading into conference play, which happens as soon as these teams get back from spring training. So, lots of exciting stuff down there. I'm excited to get out to the West spring training out in Mesquite next week, and then we have Henderson later in the month at the end of March. So, lots of big things happening on spring training, so make sure you stay tuned to the website. And if you have any questions, please reach out to Garrett.
And if you're one of those teams sitting at home thinking, why aren't we going to spring training? Start you do your budgets for next season in the spring, right? Start working on your budget now for next year. Put it in, say, hey, guys, this is our goal for next year. We want to go to spring training, whether it be out west in Nevada or out east in Florida. Start planning ahead.
Yeah, and if you're curious about a budget or something like that, about how to prepare, I have mock budgets, so feel free to email me and I can send you what the estimate that all of our teams pay and everything.
All right. So excited for you to get out of my hair, but no, to get out and see some sunshine.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm jealous. So, but let's move on to some D1 baseball. You got some updates for us, like what's gone on this past week?
So Eric passed along a few big keys from this past week, week 13. Big shakeup in the top 10. Virginia Tech took down Maryland. They took 2 out of 3. Maryland was the number 4 team in the country. That's a big conference win for Virginia Tech, so props to them. And then got to give South Carolina, my alma mater, some love. They took 2 out of 3 from Georgia, who's currently ranked number 8, and now they sit atop of their division at 5-1 after sweeping Clemson the week prior. So that's a lot of shakeups going to happen in the top 10 of D1. Go ahead.
That sounds to me like South Carolina's got the 2 big dogs in the conference out of the way already, and they're 5-1.
Yeah, their first 2 series were at Clemson and at Georgia, and
Oh, now they're home.
Yep.
Most of the rest of the season with the big dogs in the rearview mirror.
Yeah, so excited to see what they can do.
Keep it up, Gamecocks.
Yeah, happy for that program.
Don't slip, don't trip.
And then defending D2 World Series champion Pitt State opened their conference play by sweeping Truman State. So love seeing the new teams take advantage early and win their conference games.
All right.
So, but then we'll jump ahead for this upcoming week. ECU plays their conference series. They start against UNC Wilmington, so they'll finally get to start everything. There's a big round-robin event actually going on between Nebraska, UCF, and Ole Miss. So it'll be interesting.
Nebraska, UCF, and Ole Miss.
Where are they meeting?
Eric didn't provide
Arizona.
me with that. He just told
Hawaii.
me. My guess is maybe Ole Miss, but
Hey,
yeah,
that
that's
sounds fun to me.
interesting group of teams all getting to play each other. And then Iowa, defending number 1 seeds we talked about, they play Pitt State this weekend in their first series of the season. So it'll be interesting to see how those two heavyweights face off against each other. And then last one is Baylor, who's 6-0 right now in conference, 8-0 overall. They try to stay hot, and they play SMU this weekend, trying to dethrone Texas A&M and take that Gulf Coast.
All right.
So yeah, real excited about D1 and where everything's headed. So I think we'll jump into the top 20 poll.
And I don't remember if we mentioned it, but University of Texas, who had a very down couple of years in a row, just is off to I think an undefeated start right now too.
Oh wow.
So, the Longhorns looking good. Something's they're hooking them down there in Texas.
Yeah,
so,
Texas teams are on the rise apparently. But
good stuff. And we're early in the season. We're not even in spring
Yeah.
training. We're getting excited already.
Love seeing it. But as you'll see the top 20 poll on your screens now. Really, the only big shakeups that happened in this latest one was Texas A&M fell all the way from 3 to 12, and they started off at a 3-5 start, so they'll kind of see them drop. Then the other one, essentially the shakeup, was Georgia jumping from 10 to 8, but we'll see if that ends up changing things. The two teams that I essentially had note of looking out for, Florida is 10-2 right now. That's sitting unranked, and then gotta give love to my South Carolina guys who are 5-1 that are possible might be receiving votes next week to get into a top 20 poll.
Sounds like they will be.
Yeah,
All right.
so that's the top 20. Illinois, defending champ, still sitting at number 1, and we'll see if ECU can try to get that number 1 spot back that they've had pretty much every year. It seems that they get up there at some point.
And I don't believe Illinois has played a game yet.
Nope.
Their usually first games of the season are in Tampa, which I assume they're heading down
they'll
there.
be down there once again this year.
So it's a wonder. I often wonder in situations like this, how long will the voters continue to give them the respect based off of last year before they actually say, all right, now play some baseball so we can really get a judge on the 2020 Fighting Illini.
Absolutely.
So
It's a conundrum, the one that I face every top 20 pool. It's the teams that haven't played. Do I move them? And right now I can't justify moving them. But the longer you go without playing, then at some point you gotta say.
Right. All right. So should we move on to some Division II?
Yeah, we can jump right into Division 2.
And this is your wheelhouse.
Yeah, we can start with a little recap of this past week. Big thing, Florida Tech took 2 out of 3 from UCF. So that means in back-to-back weekends...
UCF D2.
UCF D2. In back-to-back weekends, they took 2 out of 3 from UCF D2 and Florida D2. So they're sitting in the driver's seat. Same thing. They got the two powerhouses, beat both of them, and now they're sitting in the driver's seat saying, okay, Dixie South might be ours this year.
Right.
So big props to them.
Don't slip, don't trip. Say it again.
Exactly. UHD won 2 their games. They only played 2 against Texas A&M Corps of Cadets. And then they also swept Lone Star Sci-Fair the week before. So they're another team that Sci-Fair and A&M were 2-3 in that division last year, and A&M is sitting at 5-0 against those two teams. So some of these teams are kind of setting the pace now to really start putting themselves in a good position for postseason. And then want to give some love to Missouri S&T, new Division II team. They went 3-0 in the first conference series, so they're setting themselves up for a great D2 run after they've been to back-to-back World Series at D3.
Beautiful.
Yeah, so lots of exciting stuff at D2. Lots of competitive games from what I'm seeing, and everyone's playing games, which not a lot of forfeits, and that's what we can only ask for.
Absolutely. Of course. So what's going on the top 20 in D2?
Top 20 in D2. So this is from the last poll that we had. West Virginia's still sitting at number 1, even though Air Force is getting 8 of the first place votes every week. So it's kind of, people are either putting Air Force at number 1 or out of the top 5. So it's kind of hit or miss with that. The two biggest things that I'll say, because top 20 poll will come out again on Thursday. I see A&M and Lone Star most likely dropping out with those losses to UHD, and then UHD, who fell out of the poll last time, I expect them to see a big jump up after going 5-0. And then I would look to both University of Florida and Salisbury and Florida Tech to jump into the top 20 and kind of take a new claim as top teams in D2.
All right.
Good stuff. Yeah, a lot of first place votes floating. Looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different teams getting first place votes. So that's pretty cool. And I'm sure, like you said, things are going to start tightening up.
Yeah, it's the beginning of the year. Everyone's like, okay, who's good, who's not.
Putting feelers out, seeing who their teams are. So yeah.
But then we got some big things for this upcoming weekend, Week 14. Western Carolina, big-time school. They're playing Kentucky. Always love getting up for the D2 versus D1 games. Defending D3 champion Millersville opens up their spring season with conference games. So I'm excited for them because they're sitting at number 2 in their conference, right behind Temple. I want to see if they can essentially pull it out. And then we have the inaugural game of the Rocky Mountain North teams, which is the old D2, D1 teams from up there in Washington State playing Gonzaga. So I'm excited to see those guys finally getting to play games at D2 level.
Okay, cool.
Awesome.
Well, it's neat that I see you making a lot of comments about former D3 teams that are now, in Division 2, and it's kind of mirroring your career where you were the D3 guy, now you're in D2. So it's like you guys are coming up together, and you still got a lot of love for those teams, which is pretty cool.
All in it together.
Absolutely.
But
Put that on a shirt. All right.
But yeah.
All right. So new D2 poll coming out this Thursday.
Yeah, it'll
right?
be coming out on Thursday.
Excellent.
And then do want to make one new announcement for D2. We've got the World Series logo officially done. It'll be getting released right after that, and it'll be up on your screens
sweet.
now.
That's
So,
it, huh?
Yeah, we're really excited about it. Looks great. I talked to a few teams, and they were fans of it. So
That's very different. Than
Yeah, it
we've
is
ever
very
had
different.
before.
I like it.
yeah, we tried to go with a different design this year. Just wanted to get away from kind of the past thing. Just offer teams something different that they would like on a shirt, like on a hat, and it'll be released on everything right after this.
Beautiful. I like it a lot.
Yeah.
All right.
But yeah, that's everything. Want to make one quick announcement for everybody. Alfred University, officially an NCBA team for the 2020-2021 season. Tom will be on in a second to talk more about D3, but they'll be jumping right into D3 next year.
Awesome.
All right.
Good
Welcome,
stuff.
Alfred. Good to have you back.
We'll get Tom on in the set, but a lot of obviously, Garrett going through D1 and D2. Lots of good stuff going on, and like you said, we're talking. The word postseason came up a few times. I mean, and a lot of teams are getting a lot of quality games in right now, and it's like you said before even spring training started.
Exactly.
So,
People are getting excited about baseball. I'm excited about baseball. I got a
Yeah.
new love for life about baseball this year for some reason. I don't know what it is, but
Can't be
I'm
the
glued to the
Pirates.
MLB network. No, it's not the Pirates. But I'm glued to the MLB network. I don't know if it's the Astros scandal or what
Yeah.
it is, but all this talk, and I'm hooked on Harold Reynolds and the boys on MLB, and
Good.
ready to see how this season goes. So.
Well, let's keep the NCBA talk going, and we got Tom McManus on here, the head of Division 3.
what's up?
How are you, Tommy?
We're great. How are you?
Doing great, man. Obviously, you're the expert on the Division 3 side of things in the NCBA, so let's go
Yeah.
through some weekend reviews, some recaps of the this past weekend, and maybe some big games
Yeah.
coming up.
Just since the last Sweet 301, I mentioned Auburn and West Georgia as a series to watch. West Georgia had been 12-0 last year, reigning conference champion. Auburn went in, took the doubleheader, took the series. So I think Auburn's pretty much established himself as pretty much the front runner for the.
You okay?
Yeah, I don't know what that was. The
Mosquito
District
guy.
3 South, yeah. Yeah, I don't know what happened.
So
there.
Auburn,
Good.
big
Yeah,
name
yeah.
school, a Division 3 team.
Brand new team too.
Yeah, brand new team.
Much
Obviously.
establishing themselves as big dog already. So
Well, good.
yeah, and then this past weekend there's only one series, which was Mary Baldwin and VCU. Mary Baldwin, VCU never really had a chance. So Mary Baldwin went in, took all 3 games. Game 1 was 20-4. Game 2, 8-0. Game 3, 12-0. So Mary Baldwin's pretty much established themselves as the team to beat in the District 3 North as well.
Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty much a recap.
So it sounds to me like what you're saying is it's Auburn versus Mary Baldwin for the national title.
Not the national title, regional playoff.
Oh, they're in the same region.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no. And Then a preview for this coming week. Something that's really interesting that I'm not sure other teams have done. Instead of going to spring training, Eastern Michigan's kind of doing a little road trip around like Southern Virginia, North Carolina. They're going to play Lynchburg in D2, and they're going to play Duke as well in D3. So it's kind of nice to see a little different take on spring training, probably a little bit more affordable for teams who may not be able to go to Florida.
Yeah, we'd disagree.
Yeah.
Disagree?
I hope
Good
it works.
sales
I hope
pitch
it
there,
works out
Tom.
for them. Hope it works out for
it's
them. I
cool.
remember Penn State tried to pull that off one year, and they in 9 days of travel they played 2 baseball games because of weather.
Jeez.
So
I hope it works better for Eastern Michigan. I like this.
yeah, I hope so. I hope so.
So, yeah.
What else? So, housekeeping items. What are you trying to get out to teams? Obviously, schedules have already been posted.
Yeah, schedules. have already been
Rosters
done.
is what teams still
Rosters
getting
is
those
the
in.
big thing. A lot of teams up north and Boston area still need to get their rosters in. But, yeah, I mean, dues are due this Friday. I have most of them already, so very little housekeeping stuff to do other than rosters. So,
All right.
pretty good shape.
What's
All right,
going
good
on
stuff.
D3 World Series wise?
We just have our hotel announcement, Holiday Inn Johnstown downtown. There it is.
Oh yeah,
What a building.
she's a beaut.
Yeah.
I had
teams
many
can
memories in that holiday.
Yes,
You do?
good bar, good
Oh,
restaurant.
absolutely.
Good
What's
bar?
Yeah, we've been there.
Several times.
Yeah.
Well, I knew this last year. I didn't know you did it before.
We've been
We had the
Johnstown.
D2 World Series there for a couple of years.
10 and 11, I think, 2010, 2011.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah,
Went
we
to
stayed
move
at that
every day.
hotel.
Oh, it's a great
Nice-
reputation, I guess. Then so
Nice
keep
bar
going.
restaurant. Yeah, right.
Very
in the heart
nice.
of
It's a very
Johnstown.
scenic walk from the hotel to the field.
Yeah, I know. Garrett says only a 10-minute walk from last
Yeah,
year. So
I'm several
pretty
times I
convenient,
just
yeah.
get up a little early in the morning, just have a nice stroll down Main Street and head over to the ballpark.
Get your exercise in. Get your
Get
Wearing the
away from
clothes-
the
wearing
staff.
wearing the clothes from the night before. and-
Yeah, exactly. Walk your shame back to the ballpark.
It's a weird walk of shame.
Anyway, anything else, Tommy?
Not really. I think we're pretty much good.
All right, good stuff, man.
D3's
Appreciate you getting on set with us and talking some D3
Yeah, thanks
baseball.
for
And
having me.
hopefully in a couple weeks we'll be talking to you again about some more updates on the D3 side of things.
Yep.
All right, sounds good. All right, well, I guess that wraps things up for the baseball segment.
It
Let's
does.
move on to
Wraps up.
softball. And I guess that means we're going to bring onto the show Savannah Aarons. You there, Savannah?
Hello.
What's up, Savs?
What's going on?
Oh, you know, sunny Pittsburgh. Getting ready
Yeah.
Getting ready. yeah. It's sunny Pittsburgh. Getting ready for, the crew's getting all set up to head to Florida. And, just living the dream. So, but talk to us
Florida's where
about.
it's at.
Yeah, exactly. Talk to us about softball and got any recaps on what's been going on last week?
Yeah, I think we should really start with the state of Florida. This past weekend, it all came down to the conference series between Florida and Florida State. They were really the only two that were still in it for the conference championship for the South Atlantic South, and it was an insane series. Florida State on Saturday had 2 come from behind wins and then took the third game as well on Sunday. So they swept Florida and have clinched the South Atlantic South title. So
That sweep.
pretty
is-
crazy stuff
sweep
happening.
is-
We're talking about postseason so early, but it's happening.
Right. That sweep is tough for Florida because that's that makes a large bid a little less attractive for them as a candidate.
I mean, the only thing that might save them is if these their one-run, losses.
Oh, right. The delta, the margin of victory there. Yeah, that's a good
Yeah,
point.
we'll see.
Good
It
point.
just depends on. I mean, and then we're talking about the other conferences in the South Atlantic that have, the nice weather to be able to play. UNC Charlotte swept App State this past weekend.
Okay.
So that literally opened the door wide open for Clemson. They're now 8-1. UNC Charlotte's 11-4. App State's now 11-4. So Clemson really is now in the driver's seat, whereas it could have been any 3 of those teams. So we'll see how Clemson fares against App State. Maybe they just all beat each other up, and somebody make their case for the at-large bid.
All right.
Well, let's talk February top 20, Savannah. What any big movement in that? The latest top 20.
Not really anything much in the top 10. We had a little bit of flip-flops, nothing huge. Can you guys see it on the screen? Nope.
No,
But
but I got it right in front of me.
Well, Florida came in unranked, but I can tell you the March one will be different.
Right, right.
I don't foresee Florida staying in the top 20. I don't know that I see App State staying in the top 20 either. They're in there at 18, so we'll see. Maybe UNC Charlotte just earned them some more points with the voters.
Right. How about that?
I know Grand Canyon's currently winning the Pacific South. They're doing really well out there. I expect them to get some love on the next ballot as well.
All right. And I see Air Force Academy dropping out of the top 20.
Mm-hmm. I mean, they just really haven't played anything this spring yet. Colorado, kind of cold
Right,
this
right.
time of year.
Okay.
So they haven't really got to play much. I think that would probably be their reasoning. They haven't played yet this spring. But then we've had four. I'm expecting the 4 teams that have clinched their postseason bids to get some love. We should talk about those because that's really exciting.
You got 4 teams that have punched their ticket to the postseason. Let's give us a recap of who that is.
Yeah, so we've got Iowa State from the Mid-America Central, and Florida State, like we talked about, from South Atlantic South, and then 2 teams from the New England region already, which is insane. The New England region usually is the last to clinch all their bids. So that represented, Maine got to play in a dome this past weekend. Great. You guys are awesome. Just wanting to play softball. I love it. So they clinched the New England East this past weekend, and then Niagara clinched the New England West.
Niagara is the team that made their first World Series appearance last year, right? Is that last year?
I think that was the year prior.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, good for them. Good for those teams.
Vermont made their first World Series appearance last year.
Ah, gotcha. Love it when
Maine took them down. University of Maine is making their first ever postseason appearance. This will be their first regional playoff, so we're really excited for them.
I'm just amazed that when I look at this top 20 poll, the names that I expect to be in the top 5 aren't there. It's amazing.
Such
as?
Well, such as Florida State. Florida State's not ranked. JMU's 19. Like, these are, maybe it's been a few years since I've been to the World Series. Maybe that's the issue. But, I mean.
Yeah, JMU didn't even make the World Series last year. And Florida State didn't even make the postseason last year.
I'm just an old head.
You are.
That's what it is. But these
guess
teams
so.
are making a
Living in the
comeback.
past.
Look at Florida State. That's awesome.
boom.
I'm happy for them. They got kicked down. They got knocked down last year, but look at them now. So maybe they'll make a run.
They're going to make a run and bring the tomahawk chop to Columbus.
Shout out to their Twitter friends. They have a couple of girls on their team called Mac and Beans, and they do a show after every series. It's awesome. So
They do a
shout
show
out
like
to
ours?
Mac and Beans.
Well, let's get Mac and Beans.
I think we should get Mac and Beans on.
Let's get
They're
Mac and Beans on the
pretty
show.
awesome.
All right. I got to figure that out. I'm writing a note. Mac and Beans. All
Mm-hmm.
right. That's Florida State.
It's beans with a Z.
Yep.
All right.
It might be.
Well, hey, let's we talked about clinchers. We talked about the season thus far. How about we got some new teams on board, or someone new's come on?
Yeah, we do. We got Bellarmine University is our first official new team of the 2020-2021 season.
That's a lot of 20s.
That's a lot of 20s.
Well, welcome Bellarmine. I know we have them for men's basketball. We've been talking to them about women's basketball, so it's great to have them coming on for softball too now. And I'm sure they're going to have a great experience next year. They're going to love it.
Yep, we can't wait. Already looking forward to how realignment's going to pan out for next season. Obviously, those things just make our league better and more competitive. So excited to see all that and all the new teams who are going to be rolling in over the next few months. Excited for those announcements to come out as well.
Absolutely. All right, Savs. Well, I think that's all we got on the softball side of things now. We're going to take a quick commercial break and come back, finish up with a little bit of football and a lot of basketball. So thanks for being on the show, Savs.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye.
on all Rawlings orders. All uniforms and apparel options are fully customizable. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to Justin Rickert at justin.rickert@coldclosesports.com or call at 412-321-8440, extension 111.
All right, we're back, and we're going to just touch real quick on NCFA, little items there. Schedule request forms were due about a week ago. I know Joe is working on putting together some schedules still. We're looking to add 3 more teams to the league so we can reboot the 2021 season. I know he's got 5 verbal commitments. We just got to turn those verbal commitments into actual
Signed,
sealed, delivered teams, and then we'll be back on track. So, but I believe last I talked to him, he had all the schedule request forms he was looking for, and he was going to work on putting together some schedules. I know there's been a touch of realignment. The Great Lakes Conference, with the loss of Eastern Michigan, who is folded, has just combined into one conference. The East and West combined into one. So that's about it on the football side. Hopefully in 2 weeks when we have our next show, we'll be back on track. We'll have those at least 3 of those teams we talked about signed, and we'll be ready to go.
Good stuff.
All right. So now what?
Guess we got to bring this guy on. Alec Verhoff.
Alec,
Don't act disappointed. Come on.
come on.
Just jealous.
You should be happy to have me on here.
I am.
We are.
All right, yeah. So
You bring down the median age of the set by like 25 years.
yeah, you guys were talking about the 2010 World Series earlier, really showing your age.
Yeah,
What were you
2008,
at, fifth grade?
Something like that.
Probably about right.
No, I'm not 10 years. Not that young.
All right.
Anyway, moving on from how young I am and how old you two obviously are. Let's jump into the women's basketball top 15 poll.
Okay.
So we have another one coming out Thursday. So this one, you'll likely see some changes from this one in a couple days. But a couple things that I would like to note: we have 3 teams that were not ranked that jumped into the top 15. That being Stanford, Fairfield, and Purdue. Stanford actually jumped up the highest. They were not ranked at all, and then they jumped all the way up to tied for 10th. So they jumped into the top 10. Pretty cool. Once they finally started getting some games played, people could see, how good they actually are. Ohio State still sitting up top, unanimous number 1. Doesn't have the first place votes on there, but they are unanimous again, as they have been for most of the season. That's really the big things to touch on for the top 15. Some things that might affect it, I want to get into kind of some matchups from last week. As you see here, we have from the top 15, we had Vermont ranked 3rd and UMass Lowell at 6th. They actually played each other this past weekend. Vermont took both games from them, so Vermont actually clinched their conference. They clinched the New England conference that they're in.
The New England North.
Yes, New England North. They clinched that, and so they will be going on to the regional tournament. Not sure what seed yet they'll have, but they are advancing on to the regional tournament. So very excited for them. Congratulations, Vermont. That's a team that wasn't ranked at the beginning of the season, and then they came in their first games and they beat the unanimous number 1 Boston College. So they kind of made a statement right there, and so excited for them. Congratulations. Another big matchup from this past weekend was Villanova. They took on Rowan. They actually split with them. This is their first loss of the season. So it's a big win for Rowan, but more importantly, Villanova actually clinched a spot in the regional playoff as well. So congratulations to them as well. That now makes 3 teams, those 2 along with Clemson, who all have advanced on to their regional playoff.
So the 2, 3, and 4 teams in the polls have clinched postseason spots. All right.
Yep, correct. So
Voters must know what they're talking about.
Yeah. Hey, congratulations to all of those teams. Moving on to some big matchups from this coming weekend. So Niagara has a couple big matchups this weekend, it looks like. They play Binghamton and Cortland. So Cortland, who is number 1, you oversee the North Atlantic. So
Right.
You know that, obviously. So they take on Cortland, number 1 in the conference. So big game right there as Niagara's still fighting for that chance to advance on. They also play Binghamton. Binghamton, Niagara, both 3-3. So a big matchup for both of them right there as they're both fighting to kind of stay in the hunt and try to gain some ground on Cortland.
Yeah, and the Niagara-Binghamton matchup is the result of a snowstorm.
That's right.
A couple weeks
That's
ago,
right.
basically Binghamton couldn't get to Niagara So we got rescheduled this weekend. So they got the double dip weekend.
Yeah.
And it happens to be just, going to the 2-game series, you can make it up in
Right.
one weekend. It kind of helps out on the 2-game series in this regards.
Definitely,
They
definitely.
played one team twice Saturday, one team twice Sunday, and we're all caught back up. So we'll see how that goes. Hopefully, weather cooperates.
Hopefully.
Everybody has a good time there. But yeah, I mean, it was a big weekend with Cortland and Syracuse splitting.
Yeah.
So it's
wide open at this point.
it's wide open. Yeah,
Just
exactly.
quite a few games left to be played, so we'll have to see in these last few weeks kind of how things play out. Yeah, another big matchup I had marked for this weekend. The Great Lakes, we have Ferris State at Cleveland State. Both of those still in the mix as well. Ohio State's kind of running away with things a little bit, but they're still fighting for a chance to advance on and play in that regional tournament as well.
And Cleveland State's got a real good shot at that number 2
Absolutely,
spot.
absolutely, yeah.
And technically, I think they could dethrone. Have they played Ohio State yet?
I want to say they have. It's a good question. Don't know. Off
I
the
don't
top of my
believe they
head.
have. I
They may
believe
not.
I believe they play them in 2 weeks.
Okay.
But as of right now, it looks like it might be coming down to Ohio State and Cleveland State. But
Maybe. Yeah. Guess.
see.
So we'll see how this weekend plays out. Last one I want to point out for this weekend, we have Kennesaw State at Furman. Clemson has already clinched first place in that for the regional tournament, but Kennesaw State is actually they're still trying to get that number 2 spot. It's wide open, basically between them and Mercer at this point. So these are 2 big games that they kind of need to take both of, because Mercer hasn't really slowed down much other than their losses to Clemson. So big games here, looking to gain some ground, try to take over that number 2 spot in the conference. So we'll see how that one plays out as well.
all right.
That's all I have as far as some matchups I wanted to point out. Something else, kind of talk about some new teams. I believe we talked about it last time, was we have Northeastern on board. They were the first new women's team that we added in this early registration period. Got some other verbal commits, and plenty of teams interested. At this point, it's just working on the paperwork and seeing when they can actually come on board.
Right.
So-
And the early registration period ends this Saturday.
This Saturday, it's the end of the month.
kind of
yeah.
expecting the second half of this week to be pretty busy with
Right.
paperwork.
And that's
people
for
coming
both
in.
men's and women's too. So,
Yeah.
hopefully, we should be having some other teams come on board. Got a lot of teams interested. So, excited for the growth we can have going forward.
All right. So we got a new top 15 poll coming out this Thursday.
Correct. Yep.
So look for that.
Yep.
And follow social media, because there's going to be more teams clinching
For sure.
basically every weekend. From now on, moving forward, there's probably going to be some team that clinches something.
Yep.
Moving forward, so be sure to watch social media for those updates, and you can always go to the NCBBA women's website and click on postseason as well. So,
Absolutely.
well, since you're talking about new team registration, let's transfer right over to men's. What do we got on the men's side?
Yeah. So men's, it's a lot of the same stuff. We did add one new team. I don't know. Did we talk about that last time?
I don't know if we did or not. I know
Let's
we talked
talk about
about
it.
Northeastern on the women's side.
We did. All right. Why don't you tell us who we added on the men's side?
Why don't you?
Christian being our men's basketball guy.
No, you're the new team.
It's
rep.
App State, everybody.
It is
for
App
who
State.
can't stand the drama.
It is Appalachian State. So again, excited to have them on board. We're looking for teams down in that South Atlantic area. So
It's a great addition.
Great addition. Happy to have them.
And that'll lead to more South Atlantic teams coming on board. I'm absolutely sure about it.
of course, just needed that first domino to fall. So,
Absolutely.
So other than that, same situation as the women's basketball. Kind of just waiting on some paperwork to get in. Have some other teams that are interested, other verbal commits. Just kind of waiting at this point to have them get their paperwork in.
Good stuff, man. Well, let's. Should we move on to getting in depth with the men's basketball league?
Absolutely, Christian. I'd love to get a little
Okay.
recap of last weekend.
Well, before we get into last weekend, I want to talk about the teams that have clinched,
Okay.
officially clinched spots in the postseason. And I forgot to put down the exact conference that they have clinched, but I just put down their names. University of Indiana, out of Bloomington, they've clinched. UMass Lowell, who's always been a team that's been very successful in the NCBBA. They are undefeated. They clinched their spot. Yale hasn't clinched their conference, but they've definitely clinched at least the second spot. So they're definitely going to be going to the regional. Florida State has clinched down in the South Atlantic South, ASU downtown in the SoPac East, And then we have a couple unofficial clinchers. There's unfortunately, some forfeits on the horizon for these programs in the coming weeks. So they're not officially clinched yet, but Auburn, South Carolina, and Stanford have all clinched. Unofficially, I'll call it, clinched spots into the postseason. So those will be getting added to the regional page on the website, and we will do an announcement on social media. But yeah, so congratulations to those teams. Good work so far this season. And a lot, we were talking before the show started, trying to come up with a name for this week 18, because this is a massive weekend, at least in the NCBBA Men's League, for teams just having big series coming up. There's going to be a lot of teams clinching spots in the postseason after this weekend. And I started to write games down, but as I was going through each conference, it was like there's 2 big conferences, and then my list got very, very long. So instead of going through and boring you with the details, I just want to say that this is the big week. Week 18, make or break week, whatever you want to call it. It's the, bump. I mean, it is the big week of the NCBBA season. So I'm excited for it. I'm excited to start getting scores on Monday to kind of see where things are kind of playing out, because weeks 19 and 20, I think, is the majority of teams are on spring break those weekends.
So they play less games.
Yeah, so there's not as many games going on those weekends, and then week 21 is another one which is the last weekend of the regular season, is the other big weekend. But this week 18 is really the I don't want to call it the end all be all, but it's the juggernaut of the week so far this season. So check out the schedule online. A ton of big games happening. So I'm really, really excited about it, and should be exciting coming down to the wire.
Absolutely. Well, why don't you walk us through the top 20?
Absolutely. So we had this came out week 17, Phenom Elite top 20 pool came out last Thursday. We will have another one coming out a week from this upcoming Thursday. But 1 and 2 have been for I believe the last 5 pools been the same. Ohio State and UMass Lowell, the 2 top dogs there. UMass Lowell actually pulled in within a few more points of Ohio State. I think last pool Ohio State was at 249 total points, and UMass Lowell was at 240. So UMass Lowell is really showing that they're a team that's a very successful program, and they're even pulling closer to Ohio State. And who knows what happens? Ohio State, I believe, has games this upcoming weekend against Toledo. UMass Lowell is in the clubhouse. They're done.
They're done.
Undefeated. I believe
No more games left.
no more games left in the regular season. So
They're going to get some tune-up non-conference games.
exactly, that's what they should be doing. But yeah, 1 and 2 have been kind of steady for the last few weeks. We did have 3 new teams come into the top 20: the University of South Carolina, Creighton University, and Arizona State University downtown. Which Arizona State University downtown just clinched a spot in the postseason. So lots of good stuff going on. But like I said, that I guess it'll be week 19. Top 20 is gonna really shape up.
And one of the big things that happened this past weekend was Mizzou,
Oh yes,
SIUE White.
absolutely. I'd be remiss if I didn't say that. Yes, Missouri SIUE White, I believe, was the number 3 team. Yes, number 3, and they dropped all the way down to number 8, and that's really due to Missouri taking 2 out of 3 from them this past weekend, which was a huge series. It was big talk in the office. I know Alec was really excited about him being a Missouri guy, being from the state of Missouri. He was really excited
And
about that.
SIUE, at one point this season, weren't they number 1?
Yes, they were the number 1 team.
Preseason or
No, East Carolina, I believe, was preseason, but SIUE White was I think it had been week 3 or something like that. They were number 1 team at one point.
and that puts SIUE on the ropes in terms of they got to fight to get that 2 spot.
Yes,
still get
they
into the
have.
postseason.
Yes, they have big games against SIUE. White has big games against
Wassel. WashU St. Louis.
No. Oh, St. Louis. St.
Clue.
Louis University, Week 18. So that'll obviously, because Creighton and all these other teams are right there in the mix. So, like I said, Week 18's the big week.
Big week.
Big
All
week.
right.
So
Good stuff. All right. Well, last thing, any new updates on regional locations?
nothing. I probably said the same thing last or 2 weeks ago on the show. We're very close to announcing 2 places, and I'll even I don't think I'm jinxing anything, but in the New England, and I may have even said it, Berkshire Community College, which is the geographically central location to all those teams that we had picked out from the get-go. We're finalizing some details with the rental agreement's all done in place. It's just a matter of finalizing some small details, and we should be all set there. In the North Atlantic, we actually rolled out State College, unfortunately. That was the geographically neutral location for all the teams in the North Atlantic. We looked at every option, exhausted everything. So we're looking at some other possibilities, and I think we have a very good option. Just again, finalizing some details. And then out in the SOPAC, we're also talking with some places, but those will be finalized. We're only about a month away, so we need to get those wrapped up here shortly, which they will be. So stay tuned to the regional page. Everything, once things are locked up, they will be announced there.
All right. Well, I think that's our show for this month. We appreciate you tuning in to this episode of Suite 301. Set your clock, write it on your calendar, whatever. March 10th will be the next show, 3:01 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, of course. And since most of our staff is going to be in spring training down in Tampa, Florida, I think there's a good chance we'll get some video callers live from the fields down there. So that should be an exciting show.
Yeah, so stay tuned to social media for our next episode of Suite 301, and we will see you right back here on Facebook Live.
Sounds good. Hey, don't forget,
It's a game.
have fun.